Hello everyone, my name is Reynald Reynoso. Welcome to the uMessage app. So, what uMessage app is essentially is a full stack chat application that allows you to send messages to other users through their email address, as well as start a video chat with them. Um the design of itself was inspired by iMessage and Slack. Essentially, the mission was a combination of both to try to take their style as well as their functionality. Um, This application itself was built on React on the front end, Redux for global state management. For the back end, we utilize Node.js um, with Express Server. We utilize Mongoose for handling database, for communicating with the database, as well as using MongoDB as the source of the database as well. Um, Implemented Sass for styling, and some of the tools we utilize in this application was Moment.js, Emoji Mart, React Router, JSON Web Tokens, bcrypt, Socket.io for allowing live updates of users typing and sending new messages, uh, Peer.js to establish connection between users for video chat, Validator, Cores, Molter for photo uploading, Sharp, and Font Awesome. So, without further ado, let's walk through this application. Let's sign up. Some of these fields are required. The name itself is not, but the phone number definitely has to be unique. Try something probably no one else has. I'm going to sign up with an actual email. Email itself also has to be unique. This is a personal identifier to figure out which user is associated with who. And uploading the image is totally optional. But I'll choose to update one. Submit. So we get redirected to the user homepage, which is just a dashboard, essentially a chat dashboard. So at the moment, we don't have any conversation, so it's empty. Nothing to filter out. There is a welcome messaging saying who we are. So to start one, I guess we can start a conversation with an existing user. So what I'm going to do is split the screen to two, just to demonstrate Socket.io in action. So I'm going to just log in as an existing user here. Sign in as, yeah, why not? Log in. Just refresh this. All right. So right now I'm empty. So what I'm gonna do is decide to start a new conversation with sample. So first things first. Email must be in the right format. Sample@test.com. So simple enough. All we do is just send them a new message to sample.com. With real-time updates, with Socket.io, everything is updated. They get the new message immediately. Right now I'm using headphones, but at the same time there was also a notification sound indicating that a new message was sent. So similarly, now we have a conversation going with sample. What do we want to do? Let's type. So as you see, in sample's conversation tab, notice that I am typing. Uses conditional rendering to indicate that I am typing. So at the same time, if I send a message, real-time updates. So another example of a live update here is not only is it reflective on the conversation tab, it's also reflective on the message component itself. So if I'm typing hello, hello, it'll see who's typing at once. If we have multiple users, it'll type at most two people at once. If we have more than two people typing, it'll say several people. It's conditional rendering. Yeah, so again, it's reflective on that. So if I stop typing, we're sending a socket event notification saying that the person has stopped typing. At the same time, I can also react on these messages, similar to iMessage. So by holding it like at least 2 seconds, it'll just indicate, it'll show up the it'll bring up the reactions. So if I choose to react on the message hello, it renders automatically on my side, but at the same time we're still utilizing sockets here, real-time updates. If I decide to change it, that change is also reflective real time. And let's say we're sample, we want to also react on that. What happens is it adds both reactions on it instead of just rendering that one reaction. At the same time, if I want to unreact to it, I just simply click the same reaction that I've made, essentially unliking it. So real-time updates. With sample, we have multiple conversations here. A very minor feature, but also very cool, is we can filter out who we want to message next. We can switch conversations to someone that's not here. We can see all the messages that were here before. There was a million of them. At the same time, we can also include emojis on our messages. Actually, let's go back to Ray so we can see it real time. So let's switch back to his message. Let's use one of these. This was provided by Emoji Mart library. And there we go. Emojis are real-time updated. Let's say the biggest feature here is it's hard for it to see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into a different computer just to showcase the video chat. So I'm on a different computer, logged in as sample this time. All we're going to do is, well, let me show you this feature first. So what happens here is there's a drop-down menu associated with the user we're calling. So if we're friends with them already, we message with them, this is available. So what we can do, we can start a new message, but it'll still redirect us to the old message. So new message when it's not really a new message. If a message already exists in the database, it's just going to send back that message. So in this case, yeah, didn't redirect automatically yet, but we'll fix that in a few. But the idea in the backend is that the message already exists between two users. We're not creating it. We're just checking for essentially if the conversation exists with those two emails associated already, and it just sends back that same one. Otherwise, it's going to create it back and sends a new one in here. So what happens? So we can create a new message. It just redirects us back to this old one. But the real feature here is the video chat. So right now, just to showcase, if we decide to click video chat, what it's going to ask for, first of all, it's going to ask if we want to use it, our microphone and our video. Let's go for it. And so what's happening now is we're waiting on sample, who's not currently logged in yet. So just to showcase what's happening here is this is us calling someone else. So we can decide to end it two ways. We can X out of this modal and call. All this is going to do is send a socket event to the other user saying, hey, they hanged up. They're no longer calling. So let's end this call for a few. What we're going to do now is, let's refresh first, because sometimes there is an issue with socket events. So I'm going to call from the other laptop. We're going to call sample. We're going to call this account, which is Reynald Reynoso, right? So I'm going to call. Let's give this a few. All right. I'm just going to log into the other user again. So I'm logging in a sample on the other computer. And from samples account, what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate that video chat, call my account, and it sends a notification saying sample is calling you. You can either choose to decline. If you choose to decline, all it's going to do is send a notification to the other user saying he declined and automatically hang up on the other side. So let's call again from sample. So sample's calling you. What's going to happen here? We choose accept. So what's going to happen here in the backend? We're using Peer.js to essentially establish the connection between the two. So all this is doing is sending that other half saying, hey, accept. And once I click accept, connection is established between two computers. So now we have two, and this is my other laptop. We established video chat using Peer.js. Not much we can do here. We're just communicating real time. So if one user wanted to end the call, let's say I'm going to end the call on sample's end. He's just going to end the call. Just gives us a notification saying sample ended the call, and we hang up. So on the front end side, there's not much real functionality happening. It's just more of the logic handling. Let's examine more of the styling that was incorporated to this. So with sample, there's a lot more messages, so we can utilize some of this. So what I kind of took from Slack is this idea of organizing the messages. Once we fetch the messages associated with or all the conversations associated with the user, I had to find a way of organizing these messages, because right now when they all come back, they're all coming back as chronologically in order. So the first assignment I had to do was kind of organize them by date, so we can implement something as minor as this, which is organizing all the messages by specific dates. All this was really position sticky. So to make this work, I had to create each element and organize them by dates, and each of these dates are just like their own element. So how this sticky feature works is this is one whole element that belongs to it. So once this kind of runs out, the next date or the next element takes over. And then I kind of implemented iMessage's bubble feature or bubble styling, which is we have the other messages, which here organizes by, okay, this is not my message, this is someone else's. So it shows on the left side, which is a different color, and these are all my messages, which is just rendering on the right side with a different color. There was also a minor feature, which is we can't really see on the user side, but we can see on our side what was our latest message. So this was our latest message. It was this very minor thing, which is saying it's just a pointing bubble as opposed to the regular circular shape. Essentially, this was the last message sent by me. And if you can see it on the other user, this was the last message sent by the user. And it's just organizing them, utilizing CSS to its maximum potential, just for user friendliness, accessibility, just to see who, just to help us organize the messages more adequately. The whole purpose of this, very minor features, I consider them very minor because some users might not really pay attention much, is just to organize as much as possible, just the flow, to make it user friendly. The little minor features to me is just what kind of stands out. Even as you notice, as you hover, you see a more details like when was this message sent. Okay, so we've been looking at just one communication to one user. Let's say we have a group chat. This application also supports group chats, but at the moment it does not fully or at all. It doesn't support video group chats at all. This only handles just one person, meaning I can only group chat one person at a time. So in a group chat, we added more organization. Same styling for users. We know that all of our messages go on the right, but the only difference with the group chat is it's also indicating who sent the message. So in this case, we have multiple users: hello, other, and test. So in this case, we're identifying who in this case is the sender, just to be more organized here, just to have the accessibility feature friendly for the user. Otherwise, essentially, this was the main feature of the front end. Now, with the back end, there was essentially three models being utilized here, with the user, with the conversation, and the messages. Using MongoDB, Mongoose, and Express, I wanted to adopt the NoSQL approach here. So, with the conversation and the relationship with the conversation and the messages, is we embedded the schema of message within conversation. So every time we're creating a new message, we're actually creating a new schema under conversation instead of creating a belongs to association. So yeah, there was troubles. There was troubles I faced implementing that kind of feature since I wasn't too accustomed with the NoSQL approach, but I eventually kind of implemented it. Aside from that, essentially the idea here was creating custom methods in the backend to kind of find out which conversations belong to the user. So upon login, we're getting all the conversations that the specific user like is associated with, um, and then the conversation itself is already associated with the messages. So each conversation has all the messages that are tied with it. So ideally, yeah, this was a fun project to work on. Uh, in a grand scheme of things, this is just a chat application, but what my main focus was just trying to maximize the features in the front end. So like the really minute things such as the hover, the little chat app. Um, all this was my focus to just focus on the front end, the design, the accessibility, make sure it's as user friendly as possible. That was my main focus here. In the back end, my mission was just to learn Express, Node.js, and Mongoose to its maximum potential without fully implementing the Rails side of it. Ideally, yeah, this was an excellent project. There was definitely a lot of challenges. I had to refactor, restructure some of my models several times, but overall, yeah, uMessage was just an attempt to clone iSlack and iMessage together. Future goals are to definitely support multiple users in video chat, but overall, this is still a work in progress. Um, yeah, thank you for watching.